Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, June 11, 2025. Time in Texas about 1 p.m. Some of the sources I'll use today: God in the Bible, Patriot Subscribers, Taboo 77, Hal Turner, Dr. William Mount, Steve Quayle's Aggregate site, Michael Snyder, Newsweek, CNN. Some of the things we'll cover: President Trump approval rating way up. And we'll talk about tariffs, Insurrection Act, and who's funding these riots: Soros, CCP, Iran, plus. And what is the plan for the riots? We're hearing 1,800 sites. So let's get started. To begin with, let's talk about who's funding these riots. That's Soros. We know he's a deep state operative, MoveOn.org. And as I brought out in a previous video, the JB show had taken billions and billions of dollars out of the Energy Department in December and given it out to various individuals. No business plan, no vetting, no nothing. To believe that money has been shuttled to Soros. Plus, we have also the CCP funding these riots. We also have the Muslim Brotherhood and so on, including, it's now coming out directly, Iran is also funding these riots. Now, I was just looking at the cost of the riots. It's predicted we could have up to 1,800 different sites. Dr. William Mount's YouTube site came out with a good map also today. So if we calculate, we understand the protesters are being paid between $6,500 up to $12,500 per week. So if we take an average of $10,000 per protester per week, we calculated each site 30 protesters at 1,800 sites, and we calculate how much they're being paid, plus the buses to move them around, hotel and food and so on. It's about $2 million per week to fund these riots that are going on. And now we see them spreading. To begin, we'll also begin with space weather. We have a G1 geomagnetic storm to hit us June 13. When a CME grazes the Earth, we're likely to see what's called a strawberry moon. June 11, a full moon, and it's called the strawberry moon. This comes from North American culture, a full moon that often appeared pink or orange in the summer, and it was the start of the June strawberry harvest. So that's going on. And now we have this from W77. Oh, yeah. President Trump has put this forth, I guess, an executive order about drone deliveries from various stores. And to begin with, we could be seeing drones in our skies, even over our small towns, with deliveries from Walmart. Well, this is going to begin in the larger cities, but eventually drone deliveries, I guess from Amazon, Walmart, and so on, will begin, and it's believed that this could possibly begin by fall in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Orlando, Florida, and some locations in Arkansas and North Carolina. So that's going on. And now I have this from a Facebook friend, Lock Her Up, talking about a House representative, I believe she's a Dem from New Jersey, who engaged in anti-ICE protest, and it's alleged that she actually assaulted an ICE agent, Monica McIvers, and she's now been indicted by a grand jury in a 3-count indictment. Resisting federal law, assaulting an agent, 3 counts. She could get up to 17 years in prison. It'll be interesting to see if Congress censors her or even puts her out of the House. We have this from ABC News. Terry Moran, who has been a long-time reporter on ABC News, put out a tweet about June 8, expressing hate against President Trump and an aide to President Trump, Stephen Miller. On June 8, ABC News suspended Terry Moran. June 10th, it's reported he's been fired. We have this from Telegraph, that President Trump and President Xi, the U.S. and China, are close to a tariff agreement, and this would be in the benefit of the U.S. The U.S. would maintain a 55% tariff on Chinese goods, while China would put a 10% tariff on U.S. goods. And we're hearing that President Trump's approval rating across America with regard to his strong position in arresting the illegals and getting them out of America has gone up significantly. Anytime you have the mainstream media reporting something positive about President Trump, that makes it very, very believable. And we have this. I have this off of Facebook, but I have other sources, including Hal Turner's Intel site, that the protest will spread. I have 17 cities initially up, but it's believed they will begin spreading to 30 cities. And we do see a spread in Texas and Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Pflugerville, Dallas. Now, I put forth that these riots are planned for these Texas cities, but we do already see protests taking place in Dallas and Austin. And Governor Abbott has sent the Texas National Guard to San Antonio, but it's believed these other locations are likely to see riots beginning soon in their cities. So that's Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Pflugerville, Dallas, and Austin. And in Alabama, in Albertville, Colorado, Aurora, in Utah, Salt Lake City, in Washington, Seattle, in Oregon, Portland, we all are already seeing some riots in these locations. Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, New York City. I believe they're already having riots also, along with Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia. We have also Minneapolis, St. Paul, Las Vegas, New Orleans, and Boston, Massachusetts, Santa Fe, New Mexico, in California, Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland, Glendale, Compton, Paramount, Quincy, Illinois. We have Lansing, Michigan, Charleston, South Carolina, Omaha, Nebraska. In South Dakota, Aberdeen, Pierre, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Florida, Miami, Tampa, Orlando. So we can see, and it's believed they want to juice all these riots up, and Washington, D.C. for sure, to take away from that great military parade honoring the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, and also President Trump's 79th birthday on Saturday. So that's going on. Newsweek reports Governor Abbott of Texas warns protesters will be arrested, and some arrests have already been made in Austin and Dallas. And he is also sending the Texas National Guard, pre-positioning the Texas National Guard to San Antonio. We have this from Newsweek. Texas Governor Abbott deploys the Texas National Guard to San Antonio. So that's going on. And now we have this, that from Hal Turner, June 10, yesterday, reports rioters are now in broad daylight shooting police. That was a report in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles police are now being shot at in broad daylight in Los Angeles. That came out yesterday. And from New York Prepper, we have that Los Angeles, and also Hal Turner reported on this. Yesterday, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, put in place a curfew. This will be for downtown Los Angeles. It began last night, and it will be from 8 p.m. at night until 6 a.m. in the morning. Also in Los Angeles, explosive devices are being used by the rioters. We have in Seattle, last night, the rioters tore down a flag from a federal building and burned it. So arrests are being made. And we also have in Portland, Oregon, the rioters barricading federal buildings. We also had riots going on in Milwaukee yesterday. So, and also last night, riots in Chicago, downtown, where rioters were throwing bricks at law enforcement and ICE. Several were detained by the police. And we know Chicago is a blue city. And we have protests going on in Chicago, a large protest at the Federal Plaza in Chicago. We have also riots going on last night in New York City. And we have this, the Los Angeles curfew, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., put in place yesterday. The rioters in Los Angeles are throwing bricks at the police and setting fires. Plus, we heard they're now shooting at police officers. The curfew in Los Angeles will extend out 1 square mile around the downtown area. Atlanta, Georgia, also having riots where the protesters are throwing fireworks at the police. The police are using tear gas and rubber bullets. In New York City, we have riots beginning last night, anti-ICE riots, and they are blocking several areas in Midtown Manhattan. And now we have this, that ICE has deported from Houston, Texas, 142 illegals who had 473 criminal convictions against them. So from Houston, Texas, ICE deported, and this is consistent with what President Trump is putting out. The illegals initially being deported from the U.S. by ICE are criminals. So ICE deported out of Houston, Texas, 142 individuals who had a total of 473 criminal convictions. I say, way to go, President Trump. And we have this, that ICE is also making arrests in Seattle, Philadelphia, and Virginia, and in New York City. And it's believed that ICE is combating these rioters who are now armed with tactical equipment, we know, including shields and face masks and other, and now we're hearing in Los Angeles, rifles. Los Angeles is already a high-risk operation, so that's going on. And we're hearing something, protests are also beginning in Denver, Colorado. We have this from Michael Snyder's Substack, talking about a Pentagon review, and the Pentagon may be deploying across the nation additional U.S. military, up to 20,000 troops. So that's going on. And now we have this. We have from Front Page verification that the Muslim Brotherhood is funding some of these riots. It's been a decades-old plan, and I've shared my experience when I was in college about attending, as part of a philosophy course, attending a mosque and hearing the plan by the Muslims, and this is in Houston, Texas, you know, a place very conservative. Texas is a law and order state. A plan by the Muslims to overthrow the government of the United States of America by becoming naturalized citizens, raising their children to hate America and raising them to be politicians, taking the government down from within. So Front Page reports this has been a decades-old plan by the Muslim Brotherhood to take America down from inside. And now we have Hezbollah. That's a group adjacent in Lebanon, adjacent to Israel. Hezbollah is a proxy for Iran. Hezbollah is making public statements that they are providing money to support these riots, which means Iran is supporting these riots. So when you hear about negotiations between President Trump and Iran, I think it's good to understand inside America, according to multiple sources we've had over years, that would be Mike Adams, Health Ranger, Steve Quayle, Dave Hodges, Hal Turner, plus. There has been an influx and an allowing in by the Dem political party, individuals who were intent on destroying America, and that included many Muslims. And we had that report from Mike from around the world. We believe he works for the government. He knows stuff that it was the plan by many groups to come in, become citizens, even for several generations, and then rise up to overthrow America. So we see these groups, these riots, anti-ICE protesters, and Front Page puts this forth, and this is part of the public statement by Hezbollah, a proxy for Iran. This is why you see many of the rioters, the protesters, wearing the Muslim scarves. So that's going on. So I think it's good to be in prayer for America. President Trump the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.